So good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to fourth session of Fourth Talk series hosted by Rizvi College of Architecture. It aims to initiate a dialogue and explore diverse subjects in relation with architecture. We have been fortunate to get insights from many professionals. Yesterday, we had Mr. Nitan Shah, who gave insights on multiple uses of white cement. Today, we have with us architect Isa Sheikh. He is an urban designer who graduated from Mumbai University in 2016 and completed his architectural degree at Rizvi College of Architecture in 2014. His ongoing research examines the urbanism of different cities in India. His master thesis, Control plus Space, Social Exclusion and the City, analyzed the root cause of exclusion occurring in the city and its relationship with excluded spaces and city regulations. He also studied housing patterns in Jodhpur as well as issues of concern regarding the Mumbai Port Trust through his urban design studies. He is a heritage enthusiast and continues to research the history of Mumbai and has published various articles in domestic journals and newspapers. His Instagram handle goes by the account of City Reader. He is an avid reader who has two books on his name, Extreme Urbanism and State of Housing. He has previously worked with Rahul Mehrotra on the Aga Khan housing project in Mumbai for the Harvard Graduate School of Design. Also, he has worked with UDRI, HCP, and architect Hafiz Contractor on diverse urban projects that includes housing, riverfront development, and city planning. Currently, he's a fellow student and he's completing his fellowship from University of France and also is an assistant professor in Rizvi College of Architecture. He's also a co-team member of the Walking Lab and the webinar series. Adding to this, he has failed to still explore spaces, cities, and countries outside India. He has also failed to produce any work that can be published in international magazines. His ongoing design work is still not completed due to unforeseen circumstances. He has failed in learning music even after multiple attempts, and he has successfully wasted his lockdown period by reading about history, watching series and lectures, which I personally don't think is a waste of time. So we welcome you, sir. With this, I think we can now take the session forward. Ratnan, please continue.
Yes, Lisa, you can start the session. A very beautiful introduction by Divya.
Thank you, ma'am.
But she made me speechless, actually.
He wrote it.
Yes.
So,
should I start?
yes, please.
So first of all, thank you, Rizvi College of Architecture, Farat ma'am, Divya, everyone. My introduction about success stories is more like that you people will believe in my stories, whatever I'm going to say henceforth. My failure stories is that I'm not a demigod. Somewhere I do make mistakes. I'm very sorry if I go somewhere wrong in this presentation also. Hence, I'm going to take you ahead with the presentation itself. Reading the city. So if you say about city is actually very complex entity, we can say. City is about the many layers which are wrapped around it. My love with city actually started with the heritage. For me, heritage is like a route. It's like a route to understand city itself. So if you want to see how city functions, if you want to see how city can be made workable, you really need to understand its roots. And for the roots, you really need to understand all the heritage about the city, all the stories about the city, how city has modified themselves over the years. Specifically, I'm going to talk more about Bombay. There are places which people have visited, people have not visited. There are spaces which are experiential. People have visited, might be experienced it. So I have divided this thing, my presentation into two parts. So first part is about a little bit introduction about city readers. Second part is about the introduction with the help of Instagram. So Instagram is a place where I actually collected all the memories, all the experiences, and it became like a book for me to go back to see what I've done, to see and get inspired myself. Okay. So moving on next. Oh, I can't. So very small disclaimer. First of all, I'm not a very expert in history. If you really want to know more about history or something, there are better people than me. If you really want to know more about history of Bombay itself, you can actually talk to Harshad sir might be. Second disclaimer is my pronunciation, my grammar might not be that good because I don't come back from a family where English was spoken as a primary language. Second thing, this whole presentation is actually my personal journey about how I experience the city, how I experience the spaces, and which helped me to understand architecture better. So yeah, if I go wrong, if you want to add something, you can really come back and approach me. I will appreciate that if you really want to add something more. Next thing is about this whole presentation is dedicated towards the Bombay, the love of the city, to the amazing thing which is going to happen to her. So what is City Reader actually? So City Reader is actually a small book. Actually, it's not a small book. It's a book about the seventh edition where people like Clarence Pellery have wrote about, Lee Corbusier wrote about it. People like many stalwart in urbanism and architecture have wrote about it. It's never-ending book. It's going to increase and increase and increase. It keeps on going on. But when you read this book itself, in the last page they say, how much ever you read it, but if you're not going and exploring on site itself, you won't understand what we are trying to say. And hence this page comes up. So even if you read the 7th edition itself, 7th edition last page itself says that you really need to modify yourself. Somewhere we have went wrong and we are trying to modify it again. Hence, the book itself says it's going to be never ending, keeps on adding to it. Then that's the beauty of a city itself. You can never have a formal talk. This itself is like a very informal talk. Somewhere, everyone have their own perspective towards the city. My perspective towards the city is about urbanism, the pattern, the housing. But if you ask MF Hussain, his understanding towards the city might be very different. He says Madhuri Dixit and Urmila Matondkar comes together and becomes a Mumbai city. That's beautiful. If you ask Sadat Hassan Manto, he says his understanding of city is like a whole where people come, people use it, and people just leave it like this. And Mumbai doesn't ask for something there. Then you keep on asking you keep on asking JRD Tata what is their understanding about the city. He will say it's like a business hub. It's like a mother which keeps on giving you and never asks something better. It's such a pretty thing. But also we really need to understand apart from all this story, city is actually more about its people, more about its culture, more about the life they are coming through it. So one disclaimer I forgot to say here, I might go over time. So please remind me, वैसे भी Adani is overcharging electricity, so please don't forget to remind me too. Next thing, something what I've learned and what I'm targeting towards is like architecture, how much ever you teach in the class. For me, it's never about sitting in class inside the four wall of the city and trying to learn. It's always about going out on your own feet, waking up in the morning, waking up in the night, whatever happens, to go out and experience the city itself. I will show you some more examples through which I will prove you that sitting in the class giving you 100 examples is not going to help me to make you understand the experiences itself. So Instagram, talking about Instagram, I'm choosing Instagram as a page or a language to tell you more history about it because it was actually, I started Instagram not for likes, but to connect people and to tell my stories in a way where it became a very concise way of representing something. I was always good with sketching. I was always good with picture, which I've learned from my seniors. But the way you compile and narrate the stories, it won't make sense. So I'm going to, please let me know if my Instagram can be seen. Mm, wait up. So can you see Instagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think so. I'm getting too many messages, but ठीक है चलेगा. So first, I will go on with my introduction of the page. This is how my Instagram page looks like. So once in the second year classroom last year, I caught someone with a curly hair, a boy sitting behind, and he was actually not listening to the lecture, and he was doing something on Instagram. So I said him, क्या time pass कर रहा है तू पढ़ाई में ध्यान क्यों नहीं दे रहा है? So he gave me a very good sentence. He said, "Sir, actually I'm learning something from Instagram." And that hit me hard. So I thought, why not teach you people in a similar way? Why not teach you people with the way you actually learn? Why not to use Instagram in a very similar fashion? Hence, this webinar comes into a picture. So hope I justified why I'm using Instagram. It's not something I was really very lazy also to make something on PPT, but yeah, Instagram helped me a lot. So these are the various images which I went to. The cities almost I covered something around 250 to 60 cities in India itself, but I've never mentioned to go somewhere outside. Talking about my first post, recently we recently we celebrated something called as Ashadi Ekadashi, which where the concept of people or a Warkari itself, which is like going from Alandi to Pandharpur. And meanwhile, in this procession itself, dindis, like group of people come together, they meet this procession and they walk or progress toward it. Similar thing happened in Mumbai also. And how it happens? So very basic thing where people actually move is from North Bombay to South Bombay. It's from mostly from areas like Virar Churchgate to South Bombay. They come and they meet at Churchgate where they actually have this rangin, like which is like a circular pattern. They dance, they enjoy it, they celebrate it, and then they go to Vitthal temple, which is there in Mumbai right now. It can be in Vadala, it's mostly in Dahisar also. So actually, they are trying to recapture the whole essence itself in Mumbai because they might be aware they might cannot go there. They might be aware that they cannot lose their job and or something other things happen. So this is a post from 2006 where actually the palki is replicated in the form of a briefcase. So you can see the briefcase is coconut. It's not a very clear image. I'm really very sorry for it. So the whole palki is actually replicated in form of a briefcase. And then the dindis, which are the group from the various villages, come together to join the procession. In a similar fashion, train timings becomes like a dindi. Like 7:30 a.m. Churchgate is one of the dindi. 9:30 Churchgate is one of the dindi. Goregaon Fast is again a dindi. Hence, all these dindis come together and they become a procession itself. Sorry. And then they celebrate it. They dance, they enjoy. It's almost a spiritual journey in Bombay itself. For me, it was like amazing. For me, it was like they don't see any religion. They don't see from where you belong. They don't discriminate between you and whatever you are. And then they keep on giving you so much of prasad and all, and you really enjoy it a lot. So this is the way how city, merges or overlaps with very other cultures, and it turns out into its own flavor. Going to my second thing, whenever I talk about Bombay, the first image people do have about Bombay is like glass facade, or maybe Marine Drive, or maybe something like a very high rise, which was in my poster, which I really want to break. So people never try to imagine Bombay in something like this. Okay, this for me is like an architecture which is like a frozen music. It's like its heritage is so rich, so good that people really don't understand unless they walk around it. I cannot tell you about this thing sitting in one class. Second thing, the life of urban researcher or architect is like thoda tricky because you have to walk a lot. You have to see city on the street itself, like in hot sun, in rain. You have to walk around, observe things, and then only you will get something beneficial out of it. Also, when you read more about things like this, you really understand how amazing a culture is, how rich a culture is. For example, Bombay initially, when it started as a good town, it was supposed to be a hub of a commercial environment. Many people came together. With them, actually came the architecture styles, and it becomes like a potpourri of architecture itself. Hence, you can see the various elements of architecture in one building. Somewhere you can see Jharoka, somewhere you can see Juliet windows, somewhere you can see the Gothic revival architecture, the neoclassical things. It's all comes and becomes like a bhelpuri of architecture itself. Hence, whenever you walk in South Bombay, not talking about the fort, but about the Bhendi Bazaar area, the Kalba Devi area, you see some amazing thing which you have not seen before. Moving ahead. So things in lockdown, what it helped me, whenever the lockdown happened, things like this were always open. Their outside windows, their gates were always open, and they were extremely rich in their, in the understanding of architecture itself. For example, this door is actually a court in Grand Road, which do have an emblem or the insignia of a lion. It looks totally like a something around in Scotland. If you see Sherlock Holmes, his house of 22 Baker Street is similar in that fashion. This is again because it was close. I can easily able to see Kutch Castle Plantation. So there are actually many royalties houses in Bombay itself. This one belongs to the King of Kutch, and his vision is actually reflected in the door itself, like his vision about woman empowerment, his vision about education of a woman in the respect to his religion, so that you can see swastika below. Hence it like actually caught my eyes. So frozen fountain, so 1920s to 1970s, the era is called as the Art Deco era. which is like a revival of Art Deco itself. Hence, we can see many features of Art Deco in the building itself. This is one of the feature of frozen fountains. It's like a fountain which is coming up, and hence the era is called as a Roaring 20. So, with architecture itself, we can understand the whole story or the whole history behind the building itself. Moving ahead, I have to flip something um, so that we don't miss it. So this is actually figurative mention from Goa. Whenever we talk about Goa, so the first image which gets clicked into mind is Goa is about beaches or the booze or the cottages or the musty or the fun. But within that thing, amidst all this chaos, we actually miss something which is very important and which has been a habitat of the city. If you're not an architect, you might completely miss this thing. So this house, figurative mention, is actually a Portuguese owner of at that time had built in around 15th century or something. This is much more older than Taj Mahal, and still it's like maintained by the descendant. They keep on hiring many conservation architects, and they keep on making it better and better every year. So again, when first May happened, everybody know okay, it was a Maharashtra Day. So one of my friend was telling me, what are you going to post this time about Maharashtra Day? So I was just asking her, what do you think I should post? So she actually sketched something called as Vada Pav, and she told me, "Okay, what do you think about this?" So I don't know, many of you might know, didn't know about this thing. Even this thing is like a staple food of the city. It too stand for the Bombay itself. It too stand for the culture significance itself. It's like a McDiga burger for a Bombay version. But then too, none of the ingredient in this thing belongs to Bombay or India. The potato came from Portugal. The bread came from Portugal. Chilies came from the South African states. Many other things like groundnut and all, it's all replicated later on in India and farmed. Nothing in this thing came from Bombay itself or Maharashtra itself. But then too, it is like a staple food for us. Pretty good. This actually reflects how Maharashtra has taken up the culture. Like everybody come together and we become as a majority. Next thing, what one of my friend was telling is there is going to be a anniversary where people are going to talk about the railways. So what is the first thing that clicks you? So for me, the first thing that clicks wherever I go all over the India by railway, obviously, is the station ka entrance or the platform pe how the name is written. I was very curious to find out who has given this graphics. So I literally found out by reading so many books running behind people. I found out that this graphics is actually given by Frank Pick. He was an architect and a urban designer in 1800s in England. He was actually designing the tube, which was the underground railway at that time for London. He also came up with something like he wanted something to be put on the station which can be easily, very clearly can be seen, and also can be seen by a moving vehicle or a moving train, not very fast but a very slow motion way, so that people can understand. So he actually drafted the whole thing. He actually drafted how it's supposed to happen, how it will be fixed, how it will be, which stand it should be fixed, what height it should be built. He drafted everything. A small picture of Elphiston Road, like names are changing, but yeah, this is actually what it's supposed to look like. And this guy is a Frank Brick. Moving ahead, so I'm going to talk a little bit about chaos. See, every topic here which I'm talking about might have a very deeper understanding, and it might take people, other people like me, to have a research and a 1 hour ka proper lecture about it. I'm just browsing through many of the layers what Mumbai is supposed to have. So Mumbai is always blessed with a good water resources. Initially, there was water resources everywhere, and there were these piaus. Piaus were actually a built form which was constructed by philanthropy at that time as a donation to the city. Like there was many labor class who used to be very thirsty, and then again there used to be animals. So if you see all these piaus, they became a break point or they became like a social point in amidst the city of the chaos. So many people used to come, they used to drink water. Even horses at that time used to be very normalized, normal. But here now horses used to come and drink water itself in the pot behind. So when Kamatipura was coming up, there was shortage of water in Kamatipura area. So two guy came into the picture. One was Kawasji Patel and second was Banaji Kanji. So Kawasji Patel made a tank at Kalpadevi and which is called as a CP tank. But the water was not flowing towards Kamatipura and it requires something like a junction. So Ramji Kawasji came and he said, I will break a piao for you, which is called as Dotaki. So many people at JJ, they stay there from like last 20-30 years, and still they don't know which is the Dotaki itself. So this is one of the Taki of Dotaki, and second Taki is actually occupied by the police chowki. So this is where I really want to raise the awareness. Ki even if you see a small heritage thing, try to find the logic behind it. So this was the other Taki which actually provided water for areas or where the communities of Kamadipura used to be there. And there used to be a Persian wheel around it. Like there used to be buffalo always going around so that people can drink water from it. Moving ahead. Okay, wait, I'm just. mm, So this is like a panoramic view when I went to Srinagar, the spiritual city, the city of gardens. But when you dwindle around Jhelum River and you come and stand at a point where you can see the whole city in the background of a mountain, it itself becomes a spiritual kind of thing. You don't have to go somewhere. You just have to sit there, stand, stare for some time, and you just every inch or everything, every picture is actually telling you some story. If you look from here, the trees, the housing behind, the way the architecture is built up, and the housing this side, it actually every part tells you something around it. Moving ahead, as I told you, Bombay was like a hub of many communities because of the community, because of the business it used to come. So this is one of the community which is still there in Bombay itself. And then this is called as a Chinese community. Hope Narendra Modi doesn't ban me for talking more about this thing. But yes, so this is actually the Chinese, we can say the enclave which is there still in the Mazgaon. They do celebrate Chinese New Year, and it is celebrated on a very huge scale. It's very amazing to see that there are so many cultures which we are totally unaware of. I will show you a small video. I don't think so. This should pause. This is the Chinese god. Actually, Chinese is not actually about religion. It's actually more about the leader they follow. So I can take a whole lecture around it, but as of now I'm just going to throw some interesting thing. So even if you hear the whole music in the area, it is so much nostalgic to the Chinese environment behind. It is such more like a diaspora telling you कि हाँ, we belong to the Chinese community and we are part of Bombay right now, but we are proud of our ancestor and descendant. This is how beautiful Bombay is, because there are so many culture and we are totally unaware of. Also, Mumbai was like ruled by many other kingdoms. For example, if you see in 11th century, there was a king called as Bhimdev. He used to have a capital in Mahim area, which was called as a Mahikavati. There is a whole book called as Mahikavati Chipakar. And if you read it, it's like a pure Marathi and thoda bahut, many other languages. It's like sort of tricky to understand it. But if you read it, you will understand a lot more about Bombay ka past. Even Naigaon was his palace of justice. It was like his court. That's why the name came out, Naigaon, like Gaon of justice. So after being there, the whole Bombay city went under Siddhi Empire, then Siddhi Empire to Mughal Empire, from Mughal it went to Portuguese, and then from Portuguese to British. But what thing happened? While it was going from Portuguese to British, it actually went. The Seven Islands of Bombay actually went in like what we say as a dowry to British. So Catherine of Braganza got married to King Edward, and hence how this whole Seven Island is given to British. So I'm just going to talk something here. This is supposed to be the first sculpture of Bombay, which is inside the fort area. Not fort, it's actually a naval dockyard area where you people are not might be allowed to go there. It took me like 7 years to go, but it's very rare images. I took a permission to click it, and then they allowed me. So it's supposed to be the first sculpture because this is supposed to be here like a sundial, which was very much seen in the Portuguese era. And second thing, if you turn the back of thing, this is supposed to be the envisage or the insignia of Queen of Catherine of Braganza. So many people, the first theory itself says that this belongs to Queen of Gadha and it's sculpted in the way the flora and fauna of Bombay is seen around it. And some theory says that this is the face of Ceres, which is a Roman and Greek god of fertility and agriculture, everything. Hence, it always take me time to believe in some theories. But yeah, it's not always good to be very clear about something. Sometimes you have to be blurry about situation. Sometimes it's good to be So we act like a not very smart person, so that many people can approach you and they can increase your knowledge. This is what my personal take is all about. Also, somewhere whenever I visit cities or towns, I keep on doing a quick sketches. Quick sketches, it will take only like 5-10 minutes maximum. It will actually give me the sense of understanding of how the space is. It will give me the sense of scale. It will give me a sense of detailing. So I will share few of my thought process with regard this thing. So this is when I went to Kashmir. Okay, coming out, I might not be that good as students are here. They are like amazing in terms of sketching, But these try to understand these are the live sketches which have to stand in like a winter, for example, in Kashmir, I have to stand with all my gloves on, I have to sketch in a way where my pencil doesn't slips out. So it has to be a live sketch. It might be totally wrong in perspective, something I'm really very sorry for it, and I will make sure that I do something better next time. Okay. Now, next thing is about the elements which I keep on discovering around the city. For example, the water element itself. So this is Padmabha Swami Temple, which is in Trivandrum itself. The element of water becomes so important. This is supposed to be the royal kingdom there, which is like they do have a very important significance. And this is one of the huge temple which is there in Trivandrum. So instead of going inside and just try to experience it the second time, I decided to stand on the coast of a water body itself and try to understand what is happening. People who have that excellent touch with water. In every religion, if you see, water plays very significant role into them. For example, in Islam, the ablution before namaz happens with water. For baptism, you require a water in Christianity. Then again in Hinduism, there is like a Narmada river or Ganges where the people that's are floated out. And then here again, the connection to water itself becomes so spiritual that you just want to stand there, stare for a while instead of doing anything else out there. So next thing, coming back to Bombay again. So this is the place. If you are really very enthusiastic with movies or the old movies, or if your parents are there, ask them about what is happening with the cinema then and cinema now. I was doing my researches on cinema, and this is very interesting thing which struck to me. So this is actually Alexandra Cinema. You can see the screen there, and which is converted into a mosque now. So if you ask people who were like थोड़ा बड़ा या थोड़ा old, they will always say कि cinemas were like impactful at that time. I will tell you a little bit of anecdotes about how impactful cinema was there. So when Jai Shantoshima was like getting released in Kalba Devika Edward Cinema, people actually came barefooted. They came with their aarti ka thali, and they actually came and did the puja in the theater itself. It was the impact of a cinema. When I was like a kid, a picture release called as Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. Very next day, next month, I guess there was a Eid, and everybody in the Eid was actually wearing Salman Khan ka jacket and Madhuri Dixit ka green top and white, whatever lehenga is there. That was the impact of cinema. People really wanted to click photos with the posters of Amitabh Bachchan, Dilip Kumar itself. That was a craze of cinemas. Mahabharat we see today, like in lockdown, we don't get attached to it. But initially, when Mahabharat was released, people used to sit fasting. They used to fast for the whole day, and they used to eat whenever they used to see Ramayana, or they used to see Mahabharat by any heroes, and then they used to break their fast. That was the impact of Ramayana. I remember in my childhood, we used to see lot of time Tipu sort of Tipu Sultan. Even if we have a holiday, we don't have a holiday. If we are playing outside, we will come back and sit in front of a TV. That was the impact of cinema. This was the impact was like overthrown overalls by the cinema to the city itself. Things began to change. Going to cinema was not a specific event for 3-4 hours. It was a whole day event. People used to plan to go for the movies. They used to get advance ticket like before 3 4 days. तैयार होकर सुबह में मॉर्निंग में निकलते थे. They used to see a movie. They used to eat food which is nearby restaurant or something, and they used to go for the Marine Drive or something which was nearby, or the Jucho party which was nearby, and then they used to come back. But slowly globalization happened, and many of the experiences were like changed. Hence, this was one of the things which I learned with my experiences. कि cinema का impact is like reducing now. Again, I'm taking you thoda diverging towards the Maheshwar itself. When I went to Maheshwar, you go inside Maheshwar with something called as arcade. You walk in Maheshwar, there are arcade. You come out, you see an arcade. Maheshwar is totally a city of an arcade, and every arcade you pass, it's like a time machine. You go through it. There is something or other thing keeps on happening on the other side of a Maheshwar city. So yeah, again, if I talk about my watercolor sketches, it's like very rough. It's like done in like something around 10 to 9 minutes. If it is watercolor, if it is ink or something, it is done in 3 or 4 minutes. I don't waste too much of time, but I really like to understand the scale, the proportion, the way the water flows, the color flows. It's very poetic and artistic for me. Going ahead a little bit, we have been taught ism in a way which is always on a PPT, or I'm really very sorry if I really wanted to learn ism by isms like a second year ka ism, like modernism, futurism, whatever. I wanted always to learn ism by actually experiencing the ism itself. Okay, so I got really very confused about Bauhaus. What is Bauhaus and how the ism is going to affect me and experience me. So one of my faculty in second year, he was named as a Jimmy Vivardiwala. He told me, why don't you go and experience yourself? So I did my research. I realized Achyut Convinger, who was disciple of Walter Gropius, he actually made something in the Bauhaus architecture. This is actually Bauhaus architecture itself in Bombay, and very less people know about it. So when I went inside, I actually see Bauhaus ka many implementation which is happening itself there. For example, the way the ceiling is designed, the way the entrance is designed, plus the technology interpretation which is happening in Bauhaus ka itself. They actually help to take help from technology and invention itself. The way the wobble slab were used in 1960s and 70s is much more different the way it is used. See the light which is put it inside. This is again a free-flowing staircase, which I don't think so any other architecture building have seen. Building might have seen this in Bombay. Even the skylight here is totally amazing. There are two things: there are skylight and there are wind channels which allows the wind to come inside and pass through all the, like these are the wind channels which allow the wind to come inside in the various room. So I was just very curious to see how it looks from top, and this is how it looks from the top. This is how it catches the wind, allows the wind to pass in every section of a building, and this is the way the lights are welcome everywhere. This is the canteen. Yeah, this is the beauty of Bauhaus. Okay, moving ahead. So our Mumbai, out of 544 square kilometer or 603 as given by UDR as square kilometer of area, we are truly blessed to have 84 kilometer square of something called as a forest, which comes right inside the city. Very few of us city do have this kind of interaction, but we really need to understand that this is actually not a forest. This is actually something very important for the people who are actually staying there, for the people who are actually much more there before us. We always think that they are not civil. We always think that I'm talking about the tribes which stay in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park itself. We always think that they are not civil, they might not be educated. But after my recent experience with them, after recently when I talked to them, I recently saw their livelihood. I realized that they are far much more ahead than us. This, if you see, is actually an end house. And this is the house build which is around the end house. They respect nature so much that they don't want to destroy it. They actually build something around it that becomes their part of life, that becomes their part of nature. And they respect it so much that they say that even after they die, they are going back to the same land from where the animals came from. So why should we break their house and make our house instead? The lady who stays there, they have a spiritual understanding about all the organism in the universe. And I think so, for me, we are not the civil, but they were the civil. They were the more understandable people. And somehow, they don't own a land. People are telling them to evict from there because they want to build something out of there. And I still feel that they are the people who actually came there first. and we are the people who came around the place. Hence, I told them that they are the people who are getting extinct. Okay, so this is almost like one of my interesting research. So there was one architect called as G.B. Matre. He has designed amazing buildings in Bombay called as Suna Mahal, Karfule Petrol Pump. But he was never given that much of credit by his seniors. He was always called as a shadow architect. There are many of his buildings which are like lost in time. It's like a proper Bombay Decoish kind of architect. So this was by researching about the architect himself. There are many things I came across. There are many temples he came. Even the temple at Walkeshwar is designed by him, but none of the people know about it. He was used only to take his signature. That's it. So I was just trying to create a awareness see how it is going to happen. I hope I'm a little bit, successful about it. This is again going back to Maheshwar after a tiring journey of like 3 to 4 hours. This is the impact. This is the first image which we understand about the Maheshwar. Can you see the scale of a temple behind it? Can you see the step and how the people are and how nature actually invites us? Moving ahead a little bit, I know I'm a little bit short of time. I cannot play a video right now, but you can always come to my profile and can check it. It's very open. Again, we talk a lot about the falling waters in America. We talk a lot about the way it is designed, but we never explore what is happening in India itself. For me, this was much more better than falling waters. This was built two to 300 years before the falling waters. This was built in the Mughal era. So I will tell you the best thing about this thing. So the water is on the top of a mountain and it flows down. So it flows down. So there is a two thing which you can see. The additional water comes out from here, but the pure and clean water which get filtered go inside the temple here. So if you see this thing, this is the fish grills kind of pattern which allow the water to make noise, allow the water to get purified, and then it goes here where there is a Shivaka statue or the Shivaka Shivling is there, or we can say a Nilkanta Shivling. And then this same water overflows and comes again, gets purified here. It's like, and then it comes from this thing. So if you drop a flower there, you can actually see a flower coming from here, and it's going round and round and going back to the valley itself. It actually demarcates how a universe actually used to flow at that time. So for me, this was amazing, and this was like nothing better than falling waters of USA. And then it back comes back to the value. I will have a small video just to make you understand how the value looks like. Thank you. That video was very important for me to show it to you because that will actually tell you more about the sound of a water which was doing the sound of a bell and actually what you were thinking. Yet you are in a very different spiritual phase. Moving ahead, I won't tell you about everything. Moving ahead with something very interesting I found while I was in Kamadipura. So Kamadipura, whenever you say someone to a people, he will always see a Kamadipura as a like a in a very negative light. You will always see Kamadipura something as a red zone or something as a prostitute area. But if you wander around Kamadipura, if you meander around, there are so many artists, means architectural marvel that people really need to document it, as early as possible. They might go it. So just to start with this thing, I will ask you a question like, the architect of British Station and BMC, right? This F.W. Stevens. Everybody knows. Most of the architecture colleges they do teach about all this thing. But do you know who's the contractor of the same thing? No. So actually, it's very interesting to understand. That when I was doing this research, even I didn't know about the contractor because we don't have awareness toward the contractor itself. We don't have awareness toward the labor. We just discriminate between our field, their field, and the designs. But we don't never consider like a detailing part as a primary focus. So this was my actually conclusion. So when I was there inside, the Pandit told me that this guy was actually a contractor of all the buildings in South Bombay. Most of the beautifully designed buildings like this guy and his father used to take. His name is Baduji Kalevar. He's from Kamati. Means he's from a group called as a Kamati, the community of Kamati, which came from Hyderabad. And they have designed, means they have not designed, they have actually took contract of many amazing buildings, including of you know bridges in Bombay, ports of Bombay. They have actually sculpted Bombay. They are the true sculptors of Bombay, we can say. So this is the guy. So what is interesting is like he estimated 4.67 lakh rupees to British government to build. But while completing the BMC building, he actually saved 67,000 rupees plus the material. So he gave back this to British, and they said this is very good thing that you came back to us. So as a return gift, you actually take this all amount back with all the materials and do whatever you want to do. So he came back to Kamatipura area and he actually built 6 of the good temples which is still there in Kamatipura area. So if you just move around Kamatipura area, there are like around 21 amazing temples, and sometimes it's also called as a spiritual journey in Kamatipura area. Moving ahead, so whenever we start a year, we always go to the fort area or the Abdul Rahman Street for the stationery and all. But we always miss this part. So once I was there inside, I was talking to a owner in the very similar fashion. It was raining, and I was just taking a little bit of time off. He said, "Ki, you don't know us." I was like, "No, really, I don't know you guys." He said they and their ancestors were actually the appointed HM of the king of Afghanistan. Like they were the people who actually provided spectacles to the Afghanistan king. How amazing, and how many people really know about it. It's like I was not knowing truly about it. So there are many hidden gems and people are not aware of it. For example, the Mahakali cave, which is in Andheri. Like my friend stayed there from last 24 years and he still don't know about Mahakali caves. But yes, you will learn more as you keep on exploring. Second thing, many of the architecture features do have their own kind of stories behind it. For example, I will zoom in here, where it's not about architecture, but the essence it was showing, the way the graphics is shown. So I will tell you a very small anecdote again. There was a guy, a Baba, who came to an old lady and he asked for a water, and that lady provided Rue Afza to him, and not very old, grew also kind of sharbat to him. And Baba blessed that Aurat and said, why don't you open a business? And while opening a business, you will be so successful. You will own 7 of the buildings in Bombay. And she opened a surma kind of shop. Okay, and that surma is known as Budia ka surma. It's very famous in South Bombay. If you go, you ask for Budia ka surma, they will give you a package of surma. And the 7 buildings are still there. Okay, and the Baba who came to, he was actually a surma guy. So this was the Baba who actually came to that lady. He blessed him, and his still shop is still existing. If you go inside there, you can see actually all the old pictures, the old furniture of the surma making, and even when you go, they will actually check your eyes before giving you surma. They are like really very original. Okay, going ahead. So this is like a very rough sketch, which is a police chowki in Nal Bazaar. It's one of the best police chowki ever I've seen in the Bombay city itself. I don't think so any other police chowki is that good. Next thing, I am too much obsessed with graphics sometimes. So many a time you see fonts on the shop itself, and then they tell you lot many stories about it. I just assume this is like a very art deco-ish font, which mostly this business would have come around 1950s to 60s, and this font is there. But when you see in a detail, when you observe the detail, how the corners are chamfered, how the fonts are written itself, the color itself, and how it's like breaking down. It's like a beauty in decay itself. So I'm just browsing. This is a Malvan where I'm actually belong to. So this is very interesting for me. So when I was browsing around Malvan, I saw a pattern of blue color bullock cart, and it was all over Malvan. I was very curious. I was just wanted to ask people ki why are they coloring their bullock cart as a blue color thing. So I found a guy. He was sitting. He was resting. I asked him कि तुम लोग ये color क्यों करते हो? So he said कि for them, cart is for them in their mythology. So Nandi is bullock, and Nandi is vehicle of Nilkan. Nilkan is blue in color or Shiva. So for them, the cart is a Nilkan for them. So when you see this image, this is actually image of the god for them. Like this is Nilkan blue in color, and Nilkan with his Nandi, which is a bullock itself. So this is like an image of a god for themselves. So whenever they just keep it idle, they don't allow it to tie up. They don't tie it up because they say it's a god. God cannot be tied up. And they also say that they are when it is idle, it is like meditating itself. God is meditating itself. So they have left it idle. And every time, every morning they get up, they actually clean the whole bullock cart. They clean the whole bullock. Then they tie it in a way that bullock doesn't get too hot. They carry on their subject. They carry on their work. But again, while ending the in the start and the end of a day, they actually worship it. They actually worship their bullock cart. Yeah, that is a crazy thing which I really found very amazing in other cities. Talking back about Bombay, so this is actually a salt pen in Vadala. We say is at NDZ, like non-development zone. But if I tell you that there used to be wars in Bombay just to own salt, because salt was that important. Your word called as salt, celery, and soldier, they are all interrelated to each other. I will tell you why. Initially, whenever there used to be a salt, so it was a belief that salt creates a commitment or kind of feelings into the heart. Hence, the priests were like not allowed to consume salt. But at the same time, priests used the salt cut technique to give it to the subject so that they can rule over it. When they realized they became much more powerful, they really need to have a soldiers to protect them. And hence they used to pay soldiers in the form of salt, like one goli, do goli salt. And hence the concept of salary came into a picture. So this is the way the salt, there used to be so much of war, so much of power related to the salt, and now like people don't look towards it. Like people don't go there also sometimes. It's that dark. It's all because of policies and how we make cities to grow. Talking about many of the villages, there are like so many villages in Bombay. It's so amazing to walk. This is Orlev in Malad. This is Chembur. I don't want to go into zooming all this thing. This is Kalyan. This is like amazing, one of the good cities in Bombay, means outside Bombay. But you really can go. I will tell you more details about this thing. So when I was doing my research about contractors in Kamatipura, I came across a topic which was totally dealing with the Fuller's Folly. Fuller is actually a guy who actually designed Bombay High Court. But in the midway, they all left. British never paid their contractors, and contractors never paid their subcontractors. They were allowed to do whatever they want. Just to show their creativity, contractor came and they actually made this thing called as the monkey, which is like a replication of a judge. Is actually holding a sword, and there is a balance. One second, Chanel. So moving ahead, what subcontractors did, they actually made the fun of the whole judiciary system or the fun of the whole system by replicating each and every sculpture in a very funny moment. For example, the monkey here is actually holding a sword with something called as balance, which is not balancing. It is like half blind eye. If you go around High Court, you will see the owls which are wearing the lawyer's suit, which is wearing the jacket of a lawyer. Many other things you see in the detail itself. Moving ahead, something which I don't think so many people have seen this, but this is actually a time bomb. Very few of the cities, like coastal cities, did have a time bomb where people from when you are going to approach from ship, the captain used to see what time it is. Is it good to come and dock? So they used to see this ball. This ball is not functioning right now, but still there. It used to be on top. Whenever it is down, that means you cannot come and dock, or it's not a good time for you to come and dock. This whole roof is actually brass roof. Try to understand. For example, I was playing Assassin's Creed. This is the place where he actually goes up, the assassin guy, Assassino, and he jumps up and he takes a leap of faith. This is the amazing thing in Bombay. And in 1944, there was a huge blast near the Fortress area where the ship sinking was like blasted all the way around with the gold thing and all. The time still shows the same thing. This is little bit changed right now, but a couple of years back it was still the same time. Moving ahead, this is very interesting. This when I was doing the research about Aga Khan society. So this is the when I was doing the research more about how clock becomes the threshold of a visual connection in the city. Many of the time when we see the Mumbai was said to be a labor class city, where it's said to be a hub of business. Many people need to see at their watches. At that time, watches owning was like very complicated, very much more not easy to get watches. So there is always like a act of philanthropy. There was always a clock installed everywhere. So if you see top of churches, top of mosque, top of mandir, top of each and every building in South Bombay, they have this church. They have this clock everywhere installed. But I went inside, I saw something very different, something very detailed, It's like detail from African continents can be seen in the interior of it. Suddenly, means sadly, I don't have an interior picture of it, but when I actually inquired about it, this whole thing is gifted by Mulus of Zanzibar. Mulus is a family, it's a very rich family in Zanzibar, and then they gifted this to Aga Khan, which was staying here in Bombay itself. Aga Khan is a community itself in Bombay, which has been staying from the very far. I think so. I'm losing time. I will just browse around it. Again, while studying about the detailing of elevations, when we see the past, we see how elevations are interlocked to each other, how playful they are. If you see here, the detail means the elevation in Sipitang area itself. This was clicked in Sipitang area itself. There is a guy who is like reading a newspaper, the baby who is cycling a small cycle. There are few of the youngster who is playing a box cricket. There are saris outside. You can actually find out everything about what is happening in the building itself. The sari is Gujarati, that means the owner is a Gujarati. There is a maxi, you find out. See, these are the small assumptions. You might be totally wrong, might be totally discriminating, but yeah, this thing happens. But again, now see the elevation which is happening behind. It's like totally dead. And even if I tell you thousand of times ki these are the elevations are the important in class, you won't understand it until unless you go there and you experience yourself. Okay, moving out. Okay, I know I'm losing time. So this is in Kalagod Art Festival. We actually presented our artwork with Rahul Mehrotra and many other people from, which actually tells about the city. We get so many inputs. We try to rectify it according to people. It was one of the best thing because it was very open to people. Many people came and they gave their own input that what they really want to change in the city itself, what they really don't like it or like about the city itself. There were people from military. They were like they really don't want anything to change, but there were people from very lower caste people and they really want to change the whole judicial system, how the people flow, the housing system. Again, while walking in the city, you see something like this and it totally amazes you. Just stand still for a while. See how the peacock, the details in the peacock is like dancing. There's a peahen. There's a flora and flora culture which is actually contributing towards the romance of Krishna and his muse. But this is not only one part. The whole building was full of that thing. See the detailing part, and it allows you to stop, stand, and stare. This is whole. This is what I'm talking about. This is what the city is all about. Again, like I'm just flipping around. So this is Asul Khana in Hyderabad. It's again a Shia community area, but the way it is detailed, it's amazing. Like you cannot read. One thing I got to understand from here, whenever I used to ask question, what is Islamic architecture? Is dome Islamic architecture? Can't be possible because the biggest dome is in the Vatican Church. Is minaret Islamic architecture? No, because when you climb up the minaret of Delhi Jama Masjid, you cannot hear Azan below. So how can we say that there is something called Islamic architecture? Actually, Islamic architecture is totally a myth. There are very few instances where we can say that this is Islamic architecture, this is Hindu architecture. When it comes to India, everything interlinks to each other, everything mixes with each other. Again, I questioned around myself. When we see a calligraphy on dome itself, where you actually cannot read it, it's so high on the ceiling. Even here, if you see the lady here, it's just for a scale. Just try to understand the scale of this whole thing, the detail in each other thing. So what I realized, if I'm like asking multiple questions to people said all this calligraphy, all the detail, like in Islam, we are not allowed to present something in picture, but we are allowed to have something in a beautiful calligraphy. This calligraphy or the detail becomes an image of a god. It represents a god for them. That's why you see Bismillah Rahman written in a very beautiful way, or in a very intricate carving along with many other things there. So this, I think, so I cannot learn something sitting in the class. I have to just go outside and to learn something from there, from our own experiences, assumption. So I will just jump through it. I think so. It's going to end very soon. Talking about exploring things, one thing I really found very interesting, like people don't explore things in the way they should do it. For example, they just go around the spaces, they click pictures together, but they don't see what is down, they don't see what is up. For example, this is actually a dome, which is clicked from below from a front camera. I don't have a DSLR, but I keep on clicking with my phone itself. So this is the front camera, which I actually managed to take a picture from it. And the dome is that beautiful. I don't think so people will understand that this is dome. Only when you look at very sharply that you will understand. I really wanted to talk so much about this thing, but yes, we do have a shortage of time. I will come back to my PPT. So going ahead with the PPT itself. So this is the Champane. Champane is very famous because of the movie Lagan, but not many people know that Champane is full of like heritage structure. They are like they are like there, just there. Nobody goes inside them. Nobody goes out of them. They are that beautiful. This is in the morning when I just woke up. We were like spending the whole night in that whole cluster of Jama Masjid, and there are many other 21 mosques are there. We were just spending the whole night there, and in the morning we got up. This is what we saw. The dome was gone, and the cloud was peeping inside. The details are like golden, and it was shimmering. This is again this is again the Sidhpur area where we were trying to document each and every houses. So this is actually Champaran, which I was talking about, where we actually spent the whole night. In the morning, first thing we saw was this thing. This got actually published in IAN journal also and Landscape journal too. This where we were documenting about the Sidhpur, the beautiful entrance portico. But not only the entrance portico, the way it was designed, how the central courtyard was maintained, all the water bodies which were there inside the house itself, it was just amazing to understand. I did my best to put it on Instagram the way it was. This is something in Surat which I was trying to do a housing in Bombay. I went to Surat and I understood that housing, what we understand in Bombay, is not similar in Surat. Housing for me is more like a machine thing which anybody can take over it. So while expanding their house, their roads, what British did, that they actually cut the whole house and they left whatever house it was there as it is. So you can actually see these half houses everywhere in Surat area. This is what actually in Paris also Haussmann tried to do. That he actually removed all the pathways and all this the cluster so that armies can come inside. This is actually taking off a government from becoming a fascist from a democracy. Just try to understand that way. This is Udaipur again, where the concept behind it, designing of Udaipur palace is like every mood to have a different room. There is a whole room which is totally of a mirror. There is a whole room which is totally of a pink. There is a whole room totally of a green details, and then there is a room kind of like a blue room which is totally about a different mood. And then the similar concept comes around in the city itself. There are places belonging to different moods of a city. I can keep on talking about it, but yeah, this is what happens in Udaipur. You have to go there and you have to experience it. Talking about food becomes a very essential part when you understand the city. Many habits or very patterns of a human give out from the related to food actually give out the pattern in the human understanding of a city itself. For me, I will give you a tip. If you really want to eat something which is very local, if you really want to eat something which belongs to there, which is not famous, what you do? So, for example, city like Lucknow, go in the mosque after Friday prayer and stand there. If a city is like Goa, go after mass and stand there, and see where people are actually going. They will go to the best place where they provide a food. If they are rich, they will go to a very fancy place. But if they are not, they will go to a worth of money food and try food from there. You will actually realize they are the authentic food from the locality or the city itself. This is actually understanding of a detail. Like I was documenting all the iron grill pattern, what is happening in city itself. There are many iron grill pattern all over the city. But when I posted this image, there are many people who actually, this is iron grill pattern where you can actually see the queen insignia, the head of a queen there. But then when I posted it, Instagram allowed me to connect to people who actually are collecting this thing. So this is iron grill pattern from Tukoji Maharaj. This is iron grill from Sitla Devi. From this is again from a mythology. This is again from Indore, where the owner, the iron grill was there. He was so rich because of his opium trade. Sorry. Next thing is about the little bit of awareness. At first, these are the heritage miles of a city, which is actually spread out in all of the city. Not many people know that, but this is the heritage tag one city, the tag one as an entity. Please, if you ever find something like this, try to tell it to BMC if there is something like this. If you dig up the Bombay, you will see so many things, so many sculpture which is still there. My request or like little bit of awareness is like just to spread across. Please, whenever you see something little, and if you don't know what to do, approach someone who do have understanding. There might be nearby to your neighborhood, there might be anywhere. Again, something from Iran. No, actually, this is Bombay. This is a Mughal masjid in Bombay. Yeah, this is the beauty of Bombay. Everything overlaps into each other and becomes a architecture of Bombay. This is again when we see European churches with the frescoes or the ceiling which is painted, we get so fascinated. Wow, how this must have been done. But there is something in Bombay itself. This is Holy Name Cathedral, which is there in Colaba. Interestingly, this artist came from Belgium. Her name is Carl Schara. She also did a interior of Regal interior. If you see, it's very similar to this interior. Again, talking about Lucknow, what happened to Lucknow means when I went there to Lucknow, this was not very interesting for me after I heard this story. When I came back and I was having a food in a hotel, it was written there कि जिसको कुछ ना दे मौला उसको दे आसिफुद्दौला, because Asifuddaulah used to hire people. He was so rich that he used to make a wall, and when people used to go back, he used to demolish it, and then people used to come back again next day and he used to make a wall. He just wanted to hire people and used to give his money to the people who will do a hard work, because there was like a famine at that time and there was many other things brought at the region. He used to provide money in a similar fashion. So वो टैगलाइन याद हो गया, वो होटल पे सब जगह लिखा होता है, जिसको कुछ ना दे बोला उसको दे आसिफुद्दौला. And when I come back to Imambara, actually I saw there are traces of walls getting demolished again and again, again and again. Hence I put a picture of this thing. Last thing, this is showed to me by Harshad Bhatia sir from our college, is right next to our college. This is actually a plan of Chandigarh, which is on a drainage thing. So I will leave you a question. You find out what is the reason behind it and come back to me. It might interest you. This is the experiences, what I actually saw. This is from a top of Matanga Hill, which is in Hampi. This was the first ray of sun which came back and hit the whole complex of a temple, and everything was so glittering, so green. It actually took my breath away. This is trying to understand how the golden ratio used to work. This is actually a staircase from Bombay High Court. Last and the least, again, when I was doing my walk, when I was doing my researches, I found something very interesting. Like people are praying to. And when I found very interestingly, it is actually a cannon. Bombay was surrounded by a fort walls of passions, and some of them left the cannon. In that time, not many people were very aware of cannons or aware of statues. When they saw the statues of Lord Kellingham, they thought it's a white god, and they actually prayed to the statue itself. Hence, the similar way, when they saw a cannon in a vertical inverted way, they saw it as a shivling, and they started to pray. And that thing still goes on. So this is actually a canon. I just used to use my humor and to say this is Kanoneshwar Maharaj, and the whole the whole mythology is about canonism, how it used to follow. They used to keep a bullet here initially, but now it is converted into something else. Now they keep a prasad for rat, I guess. So hence my Instagram page is more about collection of narratives of the stories which I came across, my experiences which I always used to do. So Instagram is more about collection of the experiences. So in the last, not the least, I will say something about Tukaram, who said, "Who will help me in thinking? Who will give me a solace? Neither am I a scientist nor a pundit, just a reader. I don't have a clarity, and still I will, I will say to myself, I still don't have clarity about many things. Help me to get better. Help me to increase my knowledge. You will be always welcome. I hope so. I will be humble every time like this. Thank you. It's done."